Hello, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. Great. Just chilling here in lockdown in Ireland.
Yeah.
We're going nowhere. Yeah. We're in a 2 kilometer travel ban, so we can't go anywhere outside 2 kilometer zone.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's working though. It's working out. How are you guys going? Are you locked down?
Yeah, we're locked down. We're in just south of Los Angeles in
Cool.
California.
Cool. Yeah. Are you like locked down with restrictions or
Yeah, you're not really supposed to be out. You have to wear a mask if you're outside and stuff. Do you guys have to do that?
uh there's no um there's no obligatory rule about wearing masks, but we have to socially distance. So, like the police are kind of they've put all the police on the beat. Taking them out of the offices. All the police are roaming around the streets, kind of. They're cool about it, but they make sure that people aren't in groups or
Mhm.
that they're like 2 meters away from each other. But I think the Irish people have been pretty good with all this because, when it's such a small country, we're a small island, and when
Mhm.
one person died, we all just got really serious immediately. So they say now that we've flattened the curve here. So
Oh, wow, that's great.
yeah, they say we flattened the curve. We don't know, like they're still saying gigs, concerts won't be on until 2021. We got to be really
Yeah.
careful, all this. So yeah, it's like it's crazy times,
I
crazy times.
know. It's
Yeah.
it's it's so crazy. Yeah, they're saying same here that 2021 will be when they'll let people kind of gather in bigger groups, but who even knows if that's the case, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think California are doing okay. My sister lives in San Francisco, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. From what I hear, maybe that's wrong, but New York are getting hit hard.
Oh, yeah, New York is really bad. That's, like, kind of the epicenter of it all. It was bad in San Francisco for a bit, but I feel like the curve is flattening, like you said,
Yeah,
so that's
California
good.
is the right approach, and they generally don't listen to Donald Trump at all.
Yeah, they
Um,
don't.
And on a
uh,
lighter note, I just wanted to say that both my dad and my brother have your name, Sean, like a true
oh
Irish.
wow, wow, yeah.
And
Um,
her dad's Irish too.
oh wow, your dad's Irish.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have red hair.
Oh no way. Where's he from?
Oh God, I should know this. But our Irish last name is Connolly, which I know
Con-
is pretty common.
Connolly's a big name here. Yeah,
Yeah.
big name because even one of our like patriots, our national heroes is the Connolly's. So I won't go into the history of the Irish like rebellion, but yeah, Connolly is like a really strong name here. So yeah,
Nice. Oh,
yeah,
That's awesome.
that could be my great great grandpa. Who knows?
yeah. I mean, have you been? Have you been to Ireland?
We need to go. We haven't been to Europe at all. So that's on the list when like we literally got passports the week before the shutdown.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, wow. Your name's Tara, isn't it? Or am I right?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
And Adam.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, yeah. Just sometimes you don't know which
Right.
one might be which. Yeah. Um, that's cool. So your brother is Sean too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Both SEAN, my dad always like he says that's spelled correctly because a lot of people spell it different.
It's
Yeah.
SEA fada N, so there should be a little tick over the A, which makes
Oh.
it it's Irish, it's Gaelic, so it elongates the vowel, becomes Sean. Anyway,
Oh.
I'm always kind of strict with that. I use the Irish way too, and yeah, you know how I am with some Gaelic. Some of my song names are Irish Gaelic as well, so
Mhm.
I'm like stickler,
Yeah.
I like that.
stickler. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So you guys
thanks,
doing
Sean,
good?
for doing this. Yeah. You doing well then? Staying
Yeah,
inside?
yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, I mean, considering everything, I'm kind of getting tired of being locked up. But I mean,
Hmm.
I'm a songwriter, so it's like I'm usually locked up. It's just not self-inflicted at this stage. Um,
Sure.
but it's been nice to, in one way, it's nice to release the album and like be able to communicate, with everyone. Like I'm getting a lot of great feedback and really cool messages coming in. Some really emotional messages coming in actually. Someone sent me a heartbreaking message this morning, but
Oh, I'm
it's nice to
sorry.
experience that. And but it's also kind of killer because we're uncertain about the future. But let's just keep trucking. That's
Yeah.
what I say. But yeah, a fan just sent me in a message this morning. I think I linked it to you guys, but he was basically saying his friend. Sorry, I don't want to. Is it okay to tell this story? It's really
Yeah.
sad
Go
one.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah. But his friend is like 47 years old, but he just died of coronavirus,
Oh
and he's
my.
7 kids, or else he's 40. I don't know. He's 40 something, and he's 7 kids. But he just said that he was listening. He went out walking, listening to one of the songs on my album, and he just told a big story then. And I don't know, just something like that. When you get a message like that, or somebody shares something so raw with you,
Hmm.
that can be really touching. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really kind of delicate time and sensitive time in the world. So it's like we need art, music, more than ever.
Yeah. I completely agree with you.
Mm.
And yeah, it is a wild time. Are you spending a lot of time writing? Is this like, is there some inspiration to this?
That was a pretty good guess. I actually just put my notepad aside. I was writing some lyrics.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, maybe. I think it will take a while to get, for our consciousness to grasp what is
Hmm.
this, but it definitely is a good chance to spend time with yourself and yeah, write lyrics and maybe address any kind of, or maybe address or kind of express any ideas that you have been waiting to get the chance to work on. So yeah, it is
Hmm.
good. I mean, there's always pros and cons to every situation, and one of the big pros is getting to work on music,
Hmm.
getting to work on art, thinking about, especially for me, thinking about what does all this mean? Why do I do what I do? I think everybody is now getting a chance as well in a lockdown to question, what should we be doing with our lives? You know, am I am I living my life, to the right way? Am I happy? Am I content? What is the right way to make art, or what type of art should I be making? Because like I think this is going to pull us back a lot from a materialistic mindset.
Yeah, I
I
completely
think we're
agree.
definitely going to think a lot more about human connection, how short our time possibly is here, how delicate our reality or our framework is in this world. So yeah, yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I think there's a huge amount in it, and I have been thinking about it. And I have been feeling like I'm on that path anywhere where
Mhm.
I'm less about like I've been developing a mindset where I'm less about what I can gain from art or music rather than what I can give, uh, how you can connect with people to help them cope with these like these experiences in life.
Mhm.
Maybe to enrich I think art should enrich people's lives, but also it gets you through the toughest moments in your life, and that's what it's always been for me. I always find that I go to music anytime I'm really really hurt, or I'm really really struggling, and I think everybody gets that. And I think with this lockdown, it's really, I don't know, I think it's going to make everybody think twice and like be a lot more, I don't know, my words are kind of failing me today, but be a lot more conscious. It could raise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people talking about raising consciousness, and I think it definitely will be beneficial to our collective consciousness. Changing our ways, maybe.
Yeah. It's wild that we're all in this together right now. I mean, you're in Ireland, clearly across the whole world from where we are, and you're in lockdown as well.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a good point.
it is really, I mean, it's crazy. It's just a whole world problem.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just spoke to my friend Parul this morning. She's a journalist in Delhi in India, and she's in lockdown.
Oh wow. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so we just had a video call this morning, and yeah, that's a good point. Everybody is feeling this together, and it's like there's so much. That's why I was saying it's going to take a while to kind of to kind of figure out to make some kind of concept of, or to to process, because the whole world is in this, and we can read so deeply into how it's affecting every one of us. We're all in lockdown. How is this going to change the world? And we don't have gigs until 2021. How is this going to change music? And can we actually change everything now for the better? And I think that's one really positive thing that could be taken from it, because I sometimes feel, for me, sometimes that even gigs and concerts, as much as I love them, I often feel that maybe it's like, let's jam as many people into a venue as we can, earn as much money as possible, and we generally don't really care about their well-being as much as I would like to as an artist. I think that's something that could really change in the future. I would love to personally change that with my own shows, if it was financially workable. I mean, it has to be if you're a more established artist. It has to be workable, whereas maybe less people at your shows, and you take better, you take conscious care of them. You kind of take a little bit more, I suppose, take the audience a little bit more into account, and how you could just make the experience so much deeper for them. So that's something. There's so much we could talk about here, really. But that's something that's a big deal for me. I've often felt that with, like, I love intimate shows, catching bands up and coming, where there's a great vibe in the room, and you're not like jammed into the room, and there's a special feeling about that. There always is. And everybody I talked to, a really good friend of mine seen the Stone Roses, and he was like, there was like 18 people there.
Wow.
They were coming, and he was like, it was in a small venue in Manchester, and he said, that was the best gig I was ever at. And sometimes then they play the stadium here in Ireland, and it's just everyone jams in, you can barely hear the sound, and you're like, is this really what it was all about? Is this really what it's all about? Like, music's like one of the top 3 or whatever greatest art forms, the most powerful natural stimulant we have. And we kind of we capitalize with it so much, I think, sometimes, that it's the wrong direction for me. So I would hope this might change how we operate.
Yeah,
but obviously with so much more to confront, like, than that. But in terms of music, that would be a wish for me.
Wow. Yeah, I've never heard anyone flip it as far as like you caring about what the audience is feeling, and like having them, they're all crammed in together. Like I haven't heard it. Like that's a rad perspective on the whole situation.
That's absolutely huge for me, Adam. Actually, it's one of the main things that has been on my mind for the past 6 months. And it's a really big thing for me that I would, if I became established and successful enough where I could really take it on, that's something I would love to change. And if it's just me doing it, I'll do my best to change it, because I feel like the audience are just as important as the creator. I know that sounds crazy, but I do. I know you obviously have event junkies and people who just goes to shows just for something to do, and maybe it's not that important to them, but you definitely have thousands of people. Like, I see it with my fans. I have a small but really loyal, intensely loyal following. It's nearly cult-like. Like, I could probably get them to kill for me at this stage, but I'm like, it's so crazy that they are so loyal. But that's something that's shown me how important your fan base are, and it's really made me think about how would it, I don't want to go and perform at a show and soak up all the energy and the good vibes, and I feel like I am the key element there. I would so much rather reflect all that energy back to the crowd and have everyone there feel like they've just been lifted up, like it's a whole. I've been at a few shows like that. You can always tell when there's a band and they've maybe just made it after a long struggle, and after years of road, and they are so goddamn happy that they have a crowd to play to. You can feel it. It's actually, have you felt it?
Yeah, that's I love that.
It's electric. It's like, it's one of everybody's just tingling. Everybody's just like feels this intense energy, and that's something I think could be I don't think you can fake it, but it could definitely be accommodated, or even chased a bit more. I don't think anybody fully understands it, but I think it's that's like the prime example of a concert for me, Or I think I was at a concert with Joe Strummer before. Maybe he had.
Whoa, really?
Well, yeah, before he died. I was really young and I went to see Joe Strummer.
Wow, that's incredible.
With the Mescaleros. I think I might have been 15. And but I think he'd just gone through a really hard time. And you could just tell there was something about that night. He was just so happy to be there. And just the way he spoke to it was an energy thing. I'm big into energy. It's just, you can feel it. You can feel it in the room. And that's the pinnacle to me. So that's where my feelings come from, changing how an artist interacts with the audience, because there's so much egotistical BS.
You can cuss.
Right? I kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
So much egotistical bullshit. There's so much egotistical projections, and it's so easy to fall into this trap, I find. That's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Everybody else can do what they want, but that's not for me. So I'd like to see that change.
I like that. So, Seán, tell me about growing up in Ireland. Like, how'd you get into music originally?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Let me see. I didn't particularly love growing up where I grew up. I found it was kind of a small town in the south of Ireland, heavily politicized, because of, when I was growing up, there was still bombs going off in Northern Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like, we're probably 5 hours away, but
still,
it was never
that must be scary.
Yeah, well, yeah. You don't realize how much it affects you as a child. But we were still so polarized, because Northern Ireland is still a part of the UK. Southern Ireland is the Republic. It's the Free State. So while I was growing up, it was still heavily politicized, and an us versus them idea. I don't want to go too much into that, sorry, but I just felt it was like a tense childhood. Hearing about these things was, it was affecting. I think it affected the adults. I think it affected the children. I think there was, an atmosphere of kind of violence and some intense there was intense hatred that was permeating the collective consciousness, which I didn't enjoy. Music for me, I think it was oasis that led me to the Stone Roses, and then when I heard a Joy Division for the first time, that just set my soul free. It just set me on fire, because I was like, oh my God, there's like, this is just, it's curing me or something. This is helping me. This is doing something to me that I don't fully understand. But there's a part of me connecting to this so deeply, and it's easing my anxiety, or it's easing the pain I'm feeling. It's easing my confusion. There's people out there who, feel the same. Lyrics just blew my mind. I just didn't realize how, when you find great music, I grew up kind of listening to pop music. My parents were into traditional Irish music. I was never really exposed to. I wasn't one of those people who had, the parents who are playing the Rolling Stones, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Listening to all these really cool stuff. Wasn't a musical family. I was the first person to buy an instrument and to begin playing. So I used to write my own poems, and that kind of got me into lyrics. And then I moved from lyrics. I kind of said, right, I'll buy a bass guitar. I'll start playing the bass guitar. And then I realized you couldn't write songs on the bass. And I was in a band, and the other members weren't working hard. So I'd say, right, I'm going to write the bass and I'm going to write the guitar. So then I got the guitar, and I started to learn that. And then I decided, right, the singer hasn't got the melody done. He hasn't got the lyrics done. I'll do that as well. So eventually, by the end of it all, I was really burnt out. But by the end of it all, I could write everything.
Wow.
That was nice. And I didn't realize it, because by the end of it all, I quit music. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too hard. People don't want to put in the work. And then I just figured, I can just do it all myself. And that's what I did. That's when Outsider started. That's the short version. That's the short story. But yeah, that's how I think everybody gets into music, is just when, like Bob Marley says, when it hits, you feel no pain. Is that Bob Marley?
Yep.
Yeah. I think, unless you're kind of into disco or something, where you just want to dance, which is cool too. But the music I write, that kind of vibe, kind of 80s, kind of dark, brooding, whatever. That's it's all about the emotional content. You're kind of searching for something. You're searching for some meaning, I think. It's just, we could talk about it all day. It's just so overwhelming how powerful music is. It's just, I always say it's the most like stimulating, natural drug that exists.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
totally
super.
right.
Yeah, it's super. I always find with U2, it's not like, I love U2. But I'm not a fan of same. I mightn't think the lyrics are amazing, or I mightn't think the melody is amazing, but there will be something. I find their energy, their music is incredibly stimulating.
Yeah.
So when it has that energy, it does something to the chemistry of your body and your mind, and who knows what exactly we're experiencing. So it's just it's mind blowing when you really, really dig into it.
Well, how old were you when you bought that bass? Was that the first instrument you bought?
Yeah, I think it was 16 when I got the bass.
Was that the first instrument you learned how to play?
Yeah.
What drew you to the bass?
Sorry?
What drew you to buying a bass? Like, why did you decide on the bass?
The bass line for I Want to Be Adored by the Stone Roses. And then I heard Peter Hook with the Joy Division. And I was like, yeah, it's the bass for me. Also, I didn't always have the confidence to be a lead singer. And I felt that allowed me to hide. I didn't have any confidence really when I was growing up. Yeah, I didn't at all. My confidence was like shattered at an early age. So I didn't really have much self-belief. So that also would allow me to kind of just take a, you take a kind of background role, but you could still write really cool bass lines. I've heard that bass is maternal. It's got this, those bass tones make you feel safe, like the Buddhist those real bass tones. You can get attracted to them because
Yeah.
there's a certain feeling of calm around bass drones and bass tones.
Yeah.
And I've heard psychologically it's a maternal sound. It's that deep, earthy sound. So I think maybe we can go as deep as we want, but maybe that's what attracted me to it.
Yeah.
And I
That's
do
interesting.
I do miss playing that. Like, I would love to be a bass player again, but I write the bass on my own songs, but I do miss just having one job. But and then I moved on to guitar. I think I can't remember what age I was, maybe 25, 26, 27. I really started with guitar and I started to write songs, but I wouldn't sing them because I joined a band when I was like 17, 18 with older guys, and they just kind of slated my voice and told me I couldn't sing at all. And that affected me for a long time until I was, I didn't record my first vocal until I was 29.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how long it was in my head. And I was like really scared when I was doing it.
Well, your voice is incredible.
Thanks, man.
I can't believe that those people were telling you that you weren't that good. Maybe they were just jealous of you and you were younger, so they didn't want you to overshine them or something.
Yeah, probably, man. But it did affect me. Thanks for saying that. It's still the seed is still in me a bit. At times it's taken me a long time to get over it. I still have huge doubts about my vocals and things like that. But I mean, it's eased obviously when you have some success and you have when you get the reaction that I'm getting. So it's just that's the path that I came through, and that was the flow that I had. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But, that's the story of how I came to where I am now.
How did you like that band that you played bass in? Was that your first band that you ever joined in? How did you meet up with those people? Like, how did that all start?
There wasn't a lot of options in the town where I'm from, so maybe population 8,000 people mostly.
Oh wow, yeah, that's quite small.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be playing post-punk or indie music. It would have been quite a conservative town. I think there was I could have been the only bass player of 2 or 3 in the whole town at that stage. So yeah, I just met them there, and it wasn't even, we weren't an original band. We were just playing covers, but I just wanted to play the band. Yeah. But I moved through bands since, after joining originals bands and stuff like that. But there wasn't a lot of options, even in Dublin at that time. But I wasn't from Dublin. That was about 2 hours away. There would have been a small scene,
Was Dublin the biggest city or the bigger area from where that's the biggest city from?
Yeah, Dublin is the capital.
Right, but like from where you currently, or where you were growing up, that was the closest city to you as far as like a bigger area. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there was another one, Limerick, which the Cranberries are from that city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but where I'm from, that small town, there's a little village outside it called the Silver Mines. Shane MacGowan was born there. The Pogues.
Yeah.
Still in New York. So yeah, the village about 2 miles from where I live, 2 kilometers from where I live.
Wow.
But Shane MacGowan went to London when he was very young, because I think one of his parents was English. But
okay.
It's just there wasn't a whole pile of choice there. It's like, I suppose it's quite Bruce Springsteen, isn't it? You just you're from this small town where nobody really understands you, and you're into all this, you're not into what the rest of them are into anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody liked the music that I liked. The stuff I was listening to. There wasn't a lot of people in my town that liked that kind of music.
Yeah. How'd you find like Stone Roses and those type of bands?
Like music magazines.
Oh
When
wow.
when the good old days when music magazines were like in rotation, and they were where you got all your content. And
Mhm.
I used to love reading like really good quality journalism, and you could really trust those magazines like Mojo and Uncut,
Yeah.
and yeah, those kind of magazines where I'd find out about bands. um and then Napster happened.
Oh yeah.
So
You're able to
so
actually grab some of those records and stuff.
well, we were kids, so like I remember I'd have to. So there's a HMV in the city that was 30 kilometers away from me.
Mhm.
So if you went to that HMV, I'd have to order like the Stone Roses or the Joy Division in. They wouldn't have it, and
Oh wow.
I'd wait 3 weeks to get it. Yeah. And I actually ordered Monster Movie, an EP by the Can. You know that German band, the Can.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they're like pretty. It's like '60s, like it's like krautrock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. I was like, "There's no way they're gonna get this EP for me," but they actually got it. I think it took about 6 weeks, but I'd say I was
Wow.
like, if you check the history books, I was probably the only person in Ireland that ordered that EP in like the '90s. But yeah, I used to like order some really, really out there stuff, but they would never have what I wanted. So yeah, that's how I came across them. There wasn't any gigs or shows when I was growing up in Ireland. I think I was too young to go. They came to the Stone Roses did a festival actually nearby
Mhm.
when I was a kid, but I was too young to go. I
Uh,
wouldn't have been allowed to go. Like Ireland's a big drinking country, and you know that wouldn't have, there was no kids at festivals.
yeah. What was the first show you went and saw? Like, who was the first band you saw live?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Um, I think it was like I was with. I'll tell you. I'll tell you too, because I was with my cousins who were girls, and we were at some like fun fair or something, and there was a band called Boyzone playing, right?
Mhm.
So it wasn't my choice to go, but like I don't know if you have them in America, but they're really famous in this side of the world, like really famous boy band, like I don't know, like I mean, like One Direction or something. They
Yeah.
were like the original kind of the first wave of those like NSYNC and all that.
Okay.
And yeah, that was actually I I think that was the first official concert. So I have to admit that that was the first one I went to, and it was all like screaming teenage girls
Yeah.
and me. uh, and then I went to I think it's the Chemical Brothers.
Oh wow, that's a cool
Yeah, that was
show.
the first one I was allowed to go on my own. I was 16, and I went with my friend who actually lives in LA now.
Oh
Uh,
cool.
yeah, that was one of the greatest nights of my life. And that was it. The Chemical Brothers in Dublin. I'm not sure what year, but I think it is still one of the best shows I was ever at.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because I think I was like one of the youngest there, so they pointed at me. So like
Oh
they
cool.
stopped in the mid show. I was at the front and they stopped the show. I was wearing a jacket like I made this jacket, like the Who Quadrophenia. You know those army jackets,
Yeah.
and he's got the Who sign on the back. The
Yeah.
circles.
Uh-huh.
So I painted that on and I made this Who Quadrophenia jacket. And because I was listening to a lot of Quadrophenia and the Who at the time, and that's the jacket I wore to the gig. And yeah, they kind of stopped mid-show, the Chemical Brothers, and pointed at me.
Uh-huh.
That was awesome if you're 16,
Oh
I,
yeah. That'd be
that was
awesome if
great.
you're 40.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's like awesome at any age. It's just to be acknowledged. So that was really cool.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
So
Yeah.
so with that first band that you played in when you played bass, you guys are a cover band. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
And did you play out, or were you just kind of screwing around and buddies?
Yeah, we played loads of shows. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Pubs. Yeah. We played loads of shows in pubs. Yeah. Um, we got to hate it pretty quickly because your favorite songs, you start to hate them because you're playing pretty bad versions of them. Literally every 4 nights of every week, and
Wow,
we
you're
get
playing that
tired.
many shows? You're playing 4
Yeah,
times a week?
yeah. Some nights, yeah, because mostly 3 nights a week.
But still, that's
Cover
a lot.
bands were really popular in Ireland. Like
Oh, is that right?
and original bands weren't getting shows at all where I was from. But
Mhm.
cover music, yeah. So if you went and you played all these rock covers, uh, you know, you would get paid well, and you got to play some music. But that was the only thing. That was the only really. You wouldn't get paid anything for originals, and probably the audience wouldn't be there. The alternative audience. It's not like America where people would turn up to your show
Oh, okay.
and like want to hear new music. They would be like, "What the fuck are you? Just like play some U2.
Yeah.
Play some Stereophonics, or get out of here." So that was it. It was fine. It was fine to just get some experience, but quite quickly realized this isn't the thing that ignites my soul. You
Sure.
know, this isn't that thing.
Uh-huh.
That sets you on fire. So you kind of start crossing things off the list. I talked about earlier, like, as I've been to gigs, not to get away from the subject, but I've been to shows where I felt completely disconnected from the audience and the band,
Uh-huh.
and I felt, so that for me is like, it's just kind of the same as playing covers. It's like I'm disconnecting from my songs
Mhm.
that I love, and I'm the audience. This is all. It is, a kind of pretend thing. So it is what it is. You go pretending to be another band or something, or you go playing another band's songs, and nobody really cares. They just want to get drunk and like jump around to their
Dance.
favorite song, and
Yeah, right.
there's something kind of lost for the hardcore, I suppose. Well, not maybe hardcore music fan. I think there's better out. There's a better experience. There's a better level of expression to be achieved. So
Mhm.
you kind of make mistakes as you grow up with that kind of stuff. I felt like there definitely wasn't there definitely wasn't a scene or an outlet there. Some people would say to me, are you doing a tour of Ireland? I'm like, that's 6 nights. That's six, that's 6 venues. You tour Ireland. Most bands come here, they do 3 nights and then it's over to Europe. So you're
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, you probably have to play some venues twice to get to get a 2 week tour. You're gonna have to hit some spots twice. Yeah, yeah. So it's a small island.
Yeah. Take me back to, you were talking about how you were writing songs, or what did where you were writing the bass line, and then, oh, well, I guess I'll write the guitar part too. I guess I'll write was that after the cover band? Were you
Yeah,
trying to join like or start, I should say, a band of your own material?
yeah. After the the cover band, I joined like an originals band. Well, I think everybody in the covers band were got so tired of it,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to start writing our own. We started playing around with that when we were in covers. We'd have an idea or we'd have a song, and we'd have a riff, and we started to kind of play around with our own covers. They were truly awful. You know, like all bands that start off, you know, it's not good. You think it's good, but it's not good. And those bands kind of they went the same way as most bands go. Everyone, you know, nothing really happens for the band. You all start to blame each other, and then you break up.
Mhm.
That's what happened to that band. And then I was like, okay, you know, fuck this. I'm out. I'm not doing music anymore. And then after a while, I joined another band, and which was kind of slightly better. And yeah, we done so much. I was in a band called Moscow Metro. We toured Germany, and we played a lot of major festivals in Ireland.
Oh wow!
Had some good songs, yeah. And
What did you play in that band?
I
Bass?
was on bass, but I was the songwriter. So
Oh, cool.
that was the band in particular where I started to write most of the instruments. Pretty much bass, guitar, keyboard, all the lyrics and melodies.
Mhm.
That was the band where I started to write pretty much everything. Apart from the drums, that's what I was writing.
Wow.
So
And then you'd had a singer that would sing them, and
yeah,
or were you
he
singing
would
at the
sing 'em.
time?
Yeah, he would sing them.
Would
But
he write?
after,
You wrote the
sorry,
lyrics, everything?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, he would write some lyrics, but and he could write songs and he could sing. He was a very good singer, but he didn't have the interest. And for after a while, you know, I'd have to reteach him how to sing the songs, and
Annoying.
it just got too much. And after a tour of Germany, he quit anyway. So that band just kind of got quite kind of toxic, because I think what happened was we had a good demo and we had a few members, we 3 members, and then, you know, we got a good manager and some opportunities, and then another guy joined. But I think people were more interested in the opportunities and how the band could serve them, rather than how the band can serve the audience. Which is again going back to my issue, but generally that's what is. Um, some band members, they get a girlfriend, they quit immediately because they're like, sweet, job done. I got the girl. It's like, that's why
Job
I joined the
done.
band. I just didn't tell you, you know? That's like, thanks for that, man. You just fucking wasted 2 years of my life because you wanted a girlfriend. Um, yeah, but that's what happens. That's what happens, you know? And it's like, oh, well, I had my experience, or I met some connections, or, you know, maybe they're trying to push their own music or their own
Mhm.
side project. It's like, it's a minefield sometimes, where it's like, why do you want to make music? It's usually because you have your own. Generally, I found is people have their own agenda with it,
Sure. Yeah.
and it's like they never really think about what does it mean to create this art? Why am I creating this art? What does it mean on, like, I suppose, even a spiritual level, or maybe, I don't know what the right way to phrase it, but like on a higher level, higher meaning. What does it mean on an emotional level, on like a human level? Why am I doing this? Why do
Mhm.
I spend my time doing this? What is the point? Who am I serving? These questions always roll around my head, maybe because of my experiences. So yeah, and probably because of my experiences with people just serving their own, you know, egotistical projections or ideas of what they want to gain and where they want to be. Maybe they
Yeah.
didn't start out with those intentions, but it's like, it's the classic Beatles story. Yoko Ono comes along, and next thing the band are like, John's like, hey, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be in a band with my girlfriend. And you're like,
Yeah.
all right, man. All right, dude. So
So
no,
how
it's
did you?
like,
So how
yeah.
was touring? I mean, you said that band was successful. I mean, you guys got a manager. You were touring Germany. Was that the first time you had been out of Ireland when you went to Germany for that tour?
Yeah, yeah. That
Was
was
that scary, or tell me about that?
yeah, I loved it, but it was also crazy, and it was a huge learning curve. So like we got into a van, got on the ferry, and our tour was in Germany. But we started in the north of France, and we had to drive across the north of France to get to Germany. And we didn't realize it would take us like 16 hours in a van.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
when our van was full of gear, we couldn't get over 60 kilometers. No, wait a minute. 60 miles an hour. I think it was maybe 80, 90 kilometers an hour. Like
Okay.
the van was just laboring, and there
Yeah.
were some like steep bridges. We didn't think we were going to make it.
Just chugging up it.
Yeah, we're like, come on, everybody lean to the front. Everybody just get to the front of the van. But we made it, and it's like Germany is the land of milk and honey, because when you get there, all the venues, they're like, you're Irish, beer, food, and there's just like whiskey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never experienced it. It's just like it's a constant flow. Like they pay really well in Germany for gigs, and they just ply you with alcohol, and they love to see you drinking that alcohol. Like the Germans are hardcore drinkers. So we made the mistake of engaging in all this fun. And yeah, and like the lead singer's voice was gone by, I think we had 2 gigs left where I had to sing most of the songs because of just non-stop partying, which you're not supposed to like really do on tour. But we were just like a bit naive about the rock and roll, rodeo, and we just, that was it. We went a bit crazy. We played a gig in a World War II bunker, an underground bunker from the time of Nazi Germany, and that was just it was an amazing place to play a gig, but the sound was awful because it was all corridors and hallways, and it's made of like whatever, titanium or whatever the hell it's made of. So you can't get a sound in there. So, but that was like a surreal experience. We played a great show. The National were actually headlining a festival. There was only like 5,000 people at this festival, and it was the National, St. Vincent,
Jeez.
Warpaint. I think Hosier was up and coming. He was there. Like crazy lineup for 5,000 people. I don't know how they did it. EMA was there as well, and like we were just hanging out in the hotel with all these people. But it was a big eye opener for me because I just looked around and they're all drinking tea. I'm like, I see where we may have went wrong. We were just fucking gone. 4 Irish guys gone crazy. So but we kind of came back then, and the band broke up.
Oh, okay. So when you guys got back,
that tour, right after that tour, probably in like a post-tour depression, the band ended. Yeah. So
did you have a record and stuff? Like, did you guys record an album and with that band?
We had an EP.
Or an EP?
Yeah, we had an EP. It was some pretty decent stuff, but what was it called? Spirit of a City, I think it was called.
Okay.
And I can't remember when exactly it was, but probably some of it's still online. But yeah, we had an EP and we done a tour. We done some festivals in Ireland. It was pretty cool. I think we played at festivals with Chic. Nile Rodgers was kind of up.
Nile Rodgers, Chic.
Yeah. He was still establishing Chic on the gig circuit, so it was really cool to meet him. And I think that was it. I think there's some funny stories about. It's gone out of my head now, but there's definitely some funny drunken stories about, I don't know, talking to some members of the National and meeting some like quite famous musicians, and really just being completely making drunken assholes out of ourselves anyway, or just not being sober in any way whatsoever. Right. I can't remember it right now though, but it seems like a while ago. I haven't thought about it in a while. The good old days.
From there, when you got back, when the band broke up, that's when you started Outsider?
yeah, when that band broke up, I was done. Yeah, so we continued for like as a three-piece for a while, and well, it was just a disaster. Like I knew that the other members were like not available. We booked a festival one time, and we were booked to play a really good festival, and one of the members cancelled because he was like, "No, I have tickets to see Arcade Fire." And I'm like, okay, it's like we could possibly play with them someday if you. He's like, "No, I'm going with my girlfriend." So it's like the new girlfriend.
The new
Kind of.
girlfriend takes you to Arcade Fire,
Yeah.
and
I'm not judging, but that's the truth.
yeah.
So like, yeah. Sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, I was wondering if once you got
Oh yeah,
back and
what
that
I
band
did,
kind of fizzled out, is that when you started your solo
yeah. So I stopped.
outsider?
I just said, look, I'm done. I'm not playing music anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like broke up with my girlfriend at that time as well. Everything in my life kind of just crumbled. And at that stage, I had started to drink quite a bit too, because I was writing songs. I was trying to write all the instruments. I started to feel a lot of pressure to get everything done. When I started to feel that pressure, I thought I could force it. And I was like, well, I'll have a few drinks. It'll help me loosen up. It'll help me write a song. And that became an issue, maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. And it soon was, you can't see it at the time, but, you're in denial. You're kind of, you're lying to yourself. You're like, oh, I'm doing this because it helps me to get things done. You're like, that's complete bullshit. There's, there's a problem here and you're not addressing it. Like, there's probably a whole fucking range of problems here, buddy, that you're not addressing. You're an emotional mess. So that's what was happening to me. My relationship ended, the band ended completely. And then after a while, I was like, I kind of had to, I started therapy as well because I was just miserable. I was just completely alone and miserable. I'd isolated myself completely from everybody in my life. I just felt like everything had gone wrong. So I was like, I locked myself down. And after that just got too much. And I knew, like, I just became miserable. And I knew I had to change. So I was kind of like doing some therapy and stuff. And just one day I decided, right, I have to get out of here. I got this huge urge. I was like, I have to leave this place. I have to start again. I have to leave. I have to go somewhere else. I was like, I want to live by the sea. So I moved to this city in Ireland by the ocean, the West Coast. And that was it for me. I was done. I was thinking, I'm not playing music ever again. And at that very moment, when I decided I didn't want to play music ever again, all these ideas for songs flooded in, and I just started to naturally write again. And when I was forcing it, I couldn't get anything. And then I read this great book called Psycho-Cybernetics, which explains that if you force your creativity, you're going to completely block it. So you need to be completely allow it to flow. It's you can't set it up like it's a analytical venture, or it's not a mathematical equation. You can't build it like a house. It has to. It's a subconscious. It's whatever side of the brain activity. It's right brain, isn't it? I always get mixed up.
I think it's left, right?
Left.
If you're left brain, or I don't know. One of
Yeah,
them's creative, the other one's
the creative side.
Yeah, I want to say I can't remember.
You have to allow it to breathe. So, all these songs started coming, and I did stop. I gave up for a while, and I realized that I was completely empty. I started, to sort myself out and to rebuild myself, and I realized I was completely empty without music. It was just that thing that mattered to me.
Mhm.
But we could go really deep with this. I needed to lose it, if like I can see how I needed to just lose it. I needed to cut myself off from it to actually see it for what it truly really meant to me in a pure sense, like with clarity. And there's a song on my album called Saturn Return, which is like an astrological concept, an ancient one that around 29 your life changes, has this dramatic change, and like you can experience like an ego death, which I think I did experience, because everything I felt I had fell away. So I felt I just kind of became no one.
Mhm.
And that's like I felt I'd lost everything, and I became no one, and I had to start again. And then I was like, the name outsider just kept rolling around my head, and I was like, I had a few names, but that one just felt, yeah, this is the one I'm going to go with. And I just decided one day, okay, I'm going to make one song and start again. And I don't care what happens. I
Mhm.
don't care. I'm not trying to do anything. All I want to do is make music because I love it. And this is what I'm going to do because I love it. And
Mhm.
in the meantime, a journalist called Cassie Morian for Indie Shuffle in Texas. She had, or in Houston, I think.
Mhm.
She had wrote about my old band, about a song she loved. She just discovered us, and she was like, "Wow, this band have broken up, but I love this song."
Mhm.
And that was amazing. That was amazing because people really responded to the music then. I kind of got in touch with her, and I was like, "Thank you very much," but the band had broken up, and I'm doing my thing now. And then 2 weeks later, a guy from Warner UK contacted me about potentially sync licensing some songs.
Wow.
Uh,
From the
yeah,
old band or
yeah, for
from
the
it?
old bands. Yeah,
Okay.
and I pretty much I was like, yeah, cool. Check out my new song, and he loved it, and he's been my manager ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, he loved it, and I was like, man, it's when you let everything go, Like I'm quite spiritual, um, so I love the concept of Wu Wei, that Taoist concept where not forcing, but when you let everything go in your life, it seems to come back. I found that in so many ways. When you just let go, it just kind of things just flow. So this just flowed, and
Mhm.
everything kind of. I won't say everything since has been this like fast track to fucking super success, but
Mhm.
everything has just seemed to have went the way, has worked out for the best. I think
Yeah.
when I look at it, it's worked out for the best. So that's what led me up to becoming outsider.
What was the first song that you put out? What was the song that got, your manager to say, "Hey,
It
I
was
want to be
called
part of this too"?
Young Gods of Nishiana.
Okay.
That was the first song. It's actually on the album. um yeah, it's like a favorite of mine. It's a favorite of a few people, just like my producer. It's his favorite. I don't know why. Certain people just like are crazy about that song. um and it was a dark time for me. It was like a transition, because when I was drinking and writing those songs in the old band, I used to have this like apartment, and my room was at the top floor, and I was overlooking this river in Limerick, the city where I lived. And it was around the time of the economic crash, and there was a lot of people committing suicide. I won't say committing, choosing suicide.
Yeah.
Um, and young people, because when it happened in Ireland, basically we have social welfare for the unemployed that was cut in half for anyone
Oh,
under
wow.
23. So you couldn't survive if you're under 23. So it was basically leave, get out of our country was the message from the government.
Wow.
um, and a lot of younger people, they threw themselves into that river. So the name of the river is the Shannon. It's the biggest river in Ireland, and the Irish name for it is Nishiana.
Mhm.
um, so I call the song "Young Gods of Nishina" because I used to look out that window and I would see the helicopter. I was trying to write songs and I'd see the search and rescue helicopter, and it was happening like every week, and I was like, oh my God. And then at times I was imagining, could I be one of those people if things got worse for me? Like, because my life was I was in a pretty bad place at that time. So I was really connecting with it. I was like, I could see that it wasn't a million miles away from me. I could see that it was like, it wasn't something totally alien to me that someone could choose this. I could feel like I really understood it. Your life can get that hard. Your life can get that bad where you're like, and if you're still attached, I won't get into it, but if you're, it can just be hard. I don't want to get too far into, becoming detached sets you free. Like, that's what I've found since, but that's a long road. I could definitely understand and I could feel for, and that's the name of the song is The Young Gods of Nishina. That's what it's all about. And I actually, in that song, imagined there's kind of weird stream of consciousness moment in that song where I say, I reference James Joyce, the Irish writer, and I say, sometimes she eats her young, which is like, Joyce always said, Ireland eats its young. It doesn't care about its youth. And that's true. And, it was shown again in that time. And I wrote that lyric, sometimes she eats her young. They don't wash away the blood. And then I changed, I flipped, and I said, I didn't think that. I didn't think of anything. I thought of love. And that was like a moment for me where it's like, what would your last thought be on that bridge? It's like, you're not going to think that Ireland doesn't care about me. You're not going to think about politics. Nothing else matters. Nothing else is going to matter in that moment. And it was a realization for me that nothing else really does matter but love. And you can intellectualize it or politicize it, or you can mask it all as much as you want, but that was the thing that was missing. So that's why you got people on that bridge, your kids on that bridge, showing, ending their life because it's a complete absence of love or care. And that's what I was feeling too. But it took me a long time to get my head around that. But that's a really meaningful lyric. And I think anyone who's maybe experienced that connects with that song. That's what I was saying about some of my fans. They can be really, really hardcore loyal because I find that they do connect to some really, deep and I suppose, well, it doesn't get much deeper in those issues, or those moments. That's like, doesn't get any deeper.
So you lived like right above that river, or you could see it from out here?
Yeah, well, I could see some of the river, but those search and rescue helicopters are loud. They're big. They're like military style, because they have to lower down guys, and then they have to try and pull you both out. So you could hear them. The choppers, they're big. You could hear them. Wow. You could hear them all over the city, and maybe sirens follow it up, So.
Wow.
Dark times, man. Dark times. My life isn't like that anymore. I haven't experienced that. Anything that sad, dark times. Well, I mean, there's the lockdown now, but it was just a dark time for me as well. It was a really dark time for me.
So after you wrote that song and the manager contacted you and you guys kind of, what did you, when he liked, the Warner UK guy, did he just offer to manage you right out there off the bat when you said, I have this new project and this new song?
Yeah, Rich, he said that his wife was going to kill him if he managed another band. So he had one other act. So he's an amazing manager. He was the CEO of Warner UK's W Songs, their sync licensing.
Wow.
But he's actually moved to LA now because he got a promotion. He's on the global board now for Warner. But so like he basically was saying that his wife would kill him if he managed another band at that time.
But he could argue and say that you're a solo artist.
Yeah. So, but he took it on. But you know, since it's kind of like it's, you know, he's kind of he manages me to a point, but I have the label OK Good Records as well. And
is that a label in Ireland? How did you get hooked up with that?
they're in New
label?
York.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they've just expressed interest. Sorry, I've got a bit lost there now. Sorry, what was the original question?
I just asked how you met the manager. Asked if he just offered to manage you right off the bat. There.
No, it wasn't right off the bat. No, definitely not. It took a little bit of time, and yeah, just kind of flowed from there, you know. And then we kind of like some opportunities kind of came up, and I got a FIFA soundtrack.
Yeah, I was actually just going to talk to you about that. How did was that all done through him, through the sync deal?
Yeah, well, yeah, sync deal. I don't know if it was done through. I don't really know how it happens. I don't think anybody does, but they just hear a song at EA Sports, they like it, and they put it on the soundtrack. It's like there is no there definitely isn't any deals being done or backs being scratched. They have to love it, you know. They have to like it, because, you know, if that was the case, all my songs would be on every FIFA soundtrack. They just have to like it, you know. And connect to it, and they did. And that was amazing, because it was, I think that Young Gods of Nishina was pitched for Stranger Things as well, but more so than my manager, you know, when you start to work with, so I signed with their publishing, Warner's Publishing. So you're globally being pitched then. So, you know, in America, I've been pitched by, they also have their W songs in America as well, Warner songs. I think Young Gods of Nishina was pitched for Stranger Things one time as well.
The show, the Netflix show.
Yeah, the show. Wow. Yeah, it didn't go on it in the end, but this, you know, so you're getting pitched across the board by Warner, which is great, because my songs are pretty soundtracky. So that's
they're totally fit that, like Arcade Fire, like the big sounding.
Yeah. That big sound, that's what I love. So just for one guy, it can be a lot of work, but that's what I love. And I think that's going to be how it goes down for me, really. I think that's how it's going to be, how people really get to know me. I just have a feeling, you know, because it's just got that vibe. But so I just picked up some management then, and then a label. But like, there's a whole group of people I work with. It's kind of like a team, you know, rather than just one manager. Rich was kind of the guy that I met, you know, but like, you definitely get plugged into a network of people. But that's it. I mean, that's how it went. Just the music has to be good. It has to have meaning. Maybe I needed to have those experiences. You know, something has to feed your music to give it that authentic energy, you know, to give it that authentic depth. You know, like, you can often listen to an artist when they're young and they're great at writing songs and melodies, but sometimes you can often sense there is that depth missing, and then maybe they experience something very tough, and suddenly an epic, you know, a classic comes out. You know, it's nearly always the case, you know. So you can sometimes, I think it benefits you. You have to kind of, you know, that old kind of cliche that you suffer for your art. Definitely does something.
Yeah.
So
have you played any, like, I'm sure you've played shows as outsider? Like, have you played any gigs out yet?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've played shows as outsider. Yeah, I
Was
played in.
that how was that the first time? Like, did you just go up there by yourself?
No, I did a few by myself, which it's cool, but it doesn't work as well. People want to hear the songs how they, you know, how
Yeah.
I wrote them. So yeah, I played with a band. Um, I
Did you
usually
just
have
find those
two
guys
guys.
after you're like, okay, here's the songs I've already
Yeah,
written it and tracked it
yeah.
all, and
Well,
I
they
just get you to
knew.
play
They
them?
knew. Yeah, they knew because I basically released my very first EP, and one of the songs was on FIFA. So it was like
Yeah.
immediately I didn't have a lot of work to do to get known in
Mhm.
in 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 Ireland, and they all like if I put an ad up for musicians before that because I had that coming up, so it was pretty easy to get people, and yeah, that's what they did. My first show, I just felt like it was I felt like it was like a spiritual experience. I just felt this is where I belong. This is where I'm meant to be. It was my first time ever on a microphone as a lead singer. That
How is
just,
that?
I loved it. I absolutely, it just felt like this is where I belong. And I didn't think that was going to happen. Um, it's very hard to explain. It was like, there was something, ethereal about it even. There was something, I felt it was kind of otherworldly. I felt I was in my element. I felt after so much kind of going through so much hard, I went through maybe 5 hard years of
Mhm.
like just completely not knowing who I was or what I was doing or why I was doing anything. I pretty much, well, like died and was reborn in a sense. And it just felt like it was a coming home or something. It felt like after everything, it was just charged with emotion for me. And I was just so goddamn happy to be there. And I was so happy for everybody who came. And I was just I felt so conscious and I felt so aware of the audience. And I felt, I was just incredibly happy. I loved everybody in the room, I
Yeah.
genuinely did. And every time I do, I played a festival in Leeds as well in England, and
Yeah.
I absolutely loved. That was the feeling I got. Even it was my first time doing, a call and response thing with one of my songs where, they sing it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sing a part. I'd never done that before, and that was
How is
like
that?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved. It's like I'm learning how to be a lead singer, and this is incredible, and this is the best thing. It is literally. I'm in my element. I just feel it's the best thing I could be doing, the best part of existing. It's just I've done all this work, I've met all these songs. They mean so much to me.
Mhm.
Now they mean something to other people, and we're here sharing it. And it's like that's just special. There's I suppose you can intellectualize it as much as you want, but it's just special.
Mhm.
It's deep emotional connection, like I was talking about. I suppose that's been the theme of our conversation, and for me, that's what it's like when I play, and that's what I
Yeah.
want it to always be like. And I don't care if I have to sacrifice. I don't care about money. Like obviously, I do to a certain point because it is so important.
You have to
You've
eat.
art and you've money, and it's like I can't make art without the money. It's like I hate how much the money matters, but at times, but I need it so much, or else this show can't happen. But I would definitely
Mhm.
be willing to sacrifice. I know it's maybe easy to say it when you're not like making it rain, like
Yeah.
that's maybe people will watch this interview in years to come and go, look what he turned into.
Yeah.
It's like I'm probably on like wearing a crown on stage and nobody's allowed to near me. But it's like that's what I envision. That's what I want. That's what the highest form of art for me is. And it's like really about the audience. It's like
Mhm.
That's what I've learned. It's the people you can meet. I wish I had time to talk to everybody. That's one thing I promised I made as well when I was really lonely. I was very alone. I had isolated myself, but I was incredibly alone. I don't think anybody wanted to be around me either. And that's the truth. When you're depressed and your life isn't going good, you're in a bad way, nobody really wants to be around you because they've got their own stuff, they got their own shit.
When you're in that situation, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards other people that are already down as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe. Big time.
Yeah, totally.
Big time. Yeah, definitely. You attract, 100%. 100%. I'm a big believer in that. So yeah, I learned in that time that, having nobody to talk to, I'm like, if anybody ever wants to talk to me, ever, I don't care how long it takes or how busy I am, I will respond. And that's been like, because I heard Henry Rollins talk about that. He would just take hours out of his day to write back to fans. Like, there was no internet.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that about him. That's awesome.
Yeah, he would just write letters back to his fans, and like he was making music with Black Flag, like about absolute depression. So his fans were just writing in, going, "Look, my life's a fucking wreck," and this, and he took time, and that's something I've been doing, and it's just the relationships that I've forged with fans of my music from all over the world. It's mind blowing. It's like it's so humbling, and it's so life affirming, and it's like there's one of my fans, basically. I hate saying that word, my fans, followers, supporters, whatever. One of the supporters, I suppose fans is the easiest way to say it. It was a lady called Lauren, and she wrote me a letter. Well, he wrote me a letter to say, look, my name is Matthew from now on, and you're the first person I've told.
Wow.
Which was like, I think I might have cried when I got, and just told me all about their life and how they've been feeling and why they've wanted to. You're 34 years old and now choosing to change.
Transition.
Yeah. So it wasn't, wasn't a young, confused. I don't want to get into the politics of it or anything, but
right.
I felt like it was a beautiful moment.
That is,
I've had like someone contact me so many people contact me talking about maybe fiance left. One guy was just saying his childhood sweetheart, he's loved all his life, left him. He's like rashes all over his body, and he's in France, and he's like, what he does every night now is he goes and takes pictures of the stars, and he was showing me his pictures. It's just like these things cool. People have told me. Oh man, it's like, it's breathtaking, and how deep a connection you can have. And one guy used to he would talk to me every week. He's like, your EP is just, it's pulling me out. Like, I'm heartbroken, my fiance's left me, and I'm just, I feel devastated. My mom died a few years ago, and it's like, I heard your music and it just made me feel better. And I think we talked once a week, every week, and there's been relationships forged like that. And that's, to me, that's something I never ever want to forget, or I never ever want to lose. I know you can't do it on a mass scale, but if you can preach it maybe, or if you can talk about it and put that vibe out there and put that idea out there that this is how deep it can get, or this is how we can then connect, and this is how this is what this could be. It could be so much more meaningful, and we can all do it with each other. That to me would be an amazing scene to create, an amazing kind of change in music. I feel maybe it's out there, maybe it's there, and I'm not experiencing it. I haven't come across it yet, but I'm sure it is. I'm sure there's like more than me who really, really care about, these connections. But I do witness it quite a bit where, I suppose you can be put on the roller coaster, or you can be put on the wheel, and it's like if a band really takes off, it's like there's so much going on that maybe they don't have. That becomes less of a priority.
Mhm.
You know, you've got this huge amount of investment, and it's all on a kind of a tightrope, and you know we need this to work. Maybe you're employing 50, 100 people, 200 people, and your priority becomes those people. I don't know. I'm just talking from where I am now. So
Yeah, no, totally.
yeah.
Do you remember like going on stage for the first time as outsider and having to be the lead vocal? How was that? Was that kind of scary? Were you excited to do that?
Well, I started because of that book I read, Psycho-Cybernetics, about it's about creativity. That taught me not to force creativity, and that's kind of like they use positive visualization. That book is like it's like one of the first books ever about positive visualization. I think it's 1940s, but it's really just rebranded Hinduism, which I found out later, which is like the Hindus like pretty much came up with positive visualization. So I was all that time, because I didn't have the confidence to sing, I didn't have the confidence to be a lead singer. I didn't even have the confidence to choose the name outsider. I didn't have the confidence to do anything. I was trapped in my own existence. I was trapped in my own body. I was trapped in my own mindset. I just didn't, my confidence was destroyed. I didn't believe I could do anything. I just believed I was a complete fuck up. I was like, I didn't have much worth. And when I started positive visualization, I was able to see myself as that person, to see myself as a lead singer, to see myself as someone who could write songs, release them, to see myself as someone, you know, who could do something good, who could use his talents to, you know, to do something good. And by the time I'd worked so hard, you know, by the time I got to that stage, I couldn't get up there fast enough. Of course, I was nervous, but you know, I really couldn't get up there fast enough, and it just felt, I was excited, but it felt this is where I belong, and I do accredit it to like positive visualization. I was able to change my self-image. I was able to change the way I see myself. Not just that, you know, I'd done quite a lot of Western psychology too. I was developing some Eastern spiritual practices too. I didn't really know who I was or what I was, so everything was rushing in. I had stopped. I had just opened my arms and allowed the world in, whereas before I would have just dismissed everything and said, no, I don't. So I allowed the world in, and everything came rushing in. I was trying everything, and I suppose this is a long answer to your question, but by the time I got there, I felt like I had been there in my mind, like 100 times, if not 1,000 times. So it felt right to me. It felt like a homecoming. Maybe that's why it felt like I came home, because I kept seeing myself there. This is where I belong. You know, this is where I belong. This is what I should be doing. This is my destiny, for, you know, if you want to use a different word.
What was the most challenging part of going from playing bass in a band to now you have to front it and be the center of attention? Was that kind of hard?
No, I mean, yes and no. Not, you know, I'm only thinking of how I feel now. Now I love it. Was it hard? Yeah, I had to do a lot of work on myself, because I played the bass to be kind of in the background and not have much responsibility, because I love the bass. You know, don't get me wrong, I did love the bass, but there was always a desire in me to sing, and a desire in me to write and to express my lyrics, because, you know, I started off with lyrics. So playing the bass, I wanted to write. I always did, but I didn't have that confidence. So yeah, you could say it took me 10 years.
Wow.
Or more. You could say it took me more than 10 years to make that journey from the bass to the lead singer. Yeah, you could say it took me more than 10 years.
Wow.
It was, and you could say it was like epically difficult, incredibly difficult. Like in hindsight, I haven't thought about that. It's a really good question. So, to me, it just feels like, oh no, it was okay, but it was difficult. I had to completely change my self-image. I completely changed the way I felt about myself. I had to build my confidence up from
Yeah.
like nothing. I nearly had to lose everything and completely lose my desire. Or no, not my desire, but just completely be so hurt by music, or completely give up to finally rise out of the ashes of that and say,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. I just, I'm going to do what's in my heart. I don't care about anything else anymore. I've tried everything else. It's time to get real, And if I fail, that was another big thing for me, is the fear of failure was so strong that that was something I learned through that book as well, to completely dismiss failure, completely dismiss it. Like, I think that took me a long time as well. So yeah, it just took me a long time to break down the fear of failure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty callous to it now. Even with songwriting or any venture, you have to be totally prepared to fail at a song or an idea, or do something that's gonna suck. And you have to just go ahead, do it. If it sucks, well, you gotta start again. And that was a decade of a journey. But yeah, it's just that. Yeah.
So tell me about Karma of Youth. So that when that came out this year, that's your EP?
Yeah, album.
Oh, album. Okay. So you
Yeah.
put out an EP prior to this?
Yeah, an EP was prior. Meal Mormara was the first EP, and so Karma of Youth came out on yesterday.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Officially yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
Officially, it came out yesterday. Yeah. So that's like an American release. There's a global release too, but the focus of it is, the focused release is in New York, with OK Good Records.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't do any of the real decision making on that front. I'm just, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. You just
make the music.
Put the songs out. Yeah.
Yeah, I just make the music, and I'm the creative side of things. But yeah, they do that. They take care of the other. They're the publicist. Takes care of the PR. I don't know. I'm so bad at all this stuff. Yeah, but yeah, the album came out yesterday. People heard the new songs for the first time.
Have you been getting a good response?
Yeah, I felt like the response has been incredible to it. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just that journalist in Kentucky. I can't remember what it was, but she was saying that she feels like it's her album of 2020 so far. And
that's
a few
amazing.
people said that, they're like, yeah, this is my album of 2020 so far, and I can see it. I can see why it could be. I think it's incredibly strong. If I do say so myself, there's a lot in there. There is a lot in there. So just even conceptually, it feels like for me, there's a lifetime in there, in that album. So I'm really happy with it, and I hope it lands well, or it gets to many years and all that. But I'm kind of chilled about it too. It's a bit weird releasing an album in lockdown.
I was gonna ask. That was my next question.
It's really weird, yeah. I don't know what to make of it, but there's there's many ways to get to people. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm glad I didn't have a tour booked. Like a huge American tour booked that I had to
cancel or postpone.
Cancel, I mean, ideally we would have done it at some stage, but we were kind of talking about it and going, should we go ahead with it? Should we hold off? While we do, we're like, let's just release it. And that's what the label said, and I was like, okay. So I'm cool with it,
Yeah.
I'm all about the flow, so if that's how it's going to flow, if that's how things are going to flow, fine. It's completely outside of my control. I feel like I've just done my best now, and it is born now. The album is born, and it's out there, and it goes where it goes. So let's just hope it goes, somewhere cool.
Yeah,
I have a very good feeling. About it. I'm really. I was talking to one of the guys who plays guitar for me, and what he was saying, and he was kind of saying, he's really noticed how intensely people connect with the songs. It's like, it's not just that they like them. If they like them, they're like, oh yeah, a really cool band. There's some comments. I get messages and I get comments. Like, I've told you about them some already. But like, there's something that people really go, right, this is connecting with me about, on a deeper level, usually some kind of pain. But I got an amazing message the morning of the album. Just blew me away. There's this guy just was like, I'm in lockdown in the UK and I'm listening to one of your songs. I think it was Meal More Marred. He was like, and the road, it's 6 a.m. and the motorway is completely empty. And he's like, the sun is rising, it's a clear blue sky. He's like, I feel like I've been born again. This is my favorite song of all time. And to get that to me, I'm like, that's kind of why I was saying, Jesus, when there is a connection, it's a very powerful connection. So that's something that is making me really excited and positive about the future. Also, we'll see what happens. I just feel like they're so soundtracky as well. I feel like that's another avenue. So
yeah, that's what I think of when I like Survivor or Savior. Sorry, Savior is like this big like
basic intro. Yeah,
I love it.
It does have that feeling, it's got, cinematic feeling.
Yeah, that was the word I was just going to use. It's got like a cinematic feel to it. Like I could see that being in a film, sitting in a movie theater, just like booming around you.
Yeah, so hopefully something like that happens. But, focus on the positives. I feel sorry for bands who maybe were about to start a tour, mid-tour. Jesus. So I'm just happy. I'm very grateful I get to release an album. I'm very grateful for where I am in my life. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to be sitting here right now talking to you about something I love.
I love that.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for all these questions. So, I'm just that's where I'm at.
I love it.
I'm just staying in the moment with it all as well. I'm just staying in the moment, and what comes, what goes, and that's it.
Well, congratulations on the record. That's
thank
amazing. And yeah, again, thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed talking to you. You've got a great vibe. You've got really cool energy. You're very chilled.
You too, man. This has been really fun. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Awesome.
I have one more question for you, Seán, if that's cool, if you have the time. I wanted to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Okay. I think that they could, if they listen to this, they could glean a lot from it.
I know you've dropped a lot of wisdom in this conversation. So I don't know if you could sum it up.
It's I suppose the biggest thing for me was, it's complicated, but if you feel like, there's something in your heart, but your confidence isn't there, I would say, rather than letting that be who you are, you can find ways. And it's probably not the most romantic, but like, there is definitely a lot of like, spiritual practices. Western rebranding is called self-help or whatever, but there's loads of good advice out there on creativity. I liked personally that book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maximum Waltz.
Yeah, I
Other
just
people like,
actually, when you were talking, I looked it up because I was like, this is so interesting and fascinating to me.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
Maxwell Maltz, right? Is
yeah,
he
yeah.
the put
I
that?
like
Okay.
that. Maybe other people, I've recommended to a few people and they didn't like it. Whatever, just find something that helps you to kind of, to break out of those shackles. If that's what's happening, I would say, if you're in this, it just depends how you feel. If you're obsessed with music, you're always going to do it for the rest of your life. It's going to be a long game. It really just depends. It really depends. I don't know. It's hard to give like all encompassing advice, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to advise that person, I suppose, that might be struggling. Some people just go straight to the top, and they don't really care about, they have different agendas. We all have different goals we want to achieve, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I tell everyone, maybe follow your heart. It's the cheesiest thing you could possibly say, but that probably would sum it up for me. You are most certainly gonna encounter failure. If that's anything I could really, really drive home, is eradicate the fear of failure. It doesn't matter. And you hear it in all those like quotes and those YouTube videos, and it's always there. But really, really dig in on that. Don't just listen to it. Really try and understand it. Why, you have to like practice. You have to force yourself to be courageous, or you have to not to develop a callous skin about it either.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just like be prepared to just, I don't know, be prepared to suck, be prepared to fall and get back up, fall and get back up, fall and get back up. And that's what's just going to shape your character. I mean, I'm probably repeating something that like, thousands of people have said. Yeah, that's what I would say. Just, that's what's going to happen. That's what's coming for you. If you're like 18 now or 19 and you're starting a band, you can be damn sure you're going to fall at some stage. I don't wish it on anyone, but it's going to be probably the best thing that'll ever happen to you. You're going to fall, you're going to get back up, and there's another fall coming. So every time you learn, every time you'll grow through it. So that's my advice. Eradicate the fear of failure.
Bringing it backward.